cabin itself was $860.
Yes, my total cost.
And you went there with your 4 children and a pet.
Yes.
And you stayed there on the 6th.
We stayed there on the 6th.
Did you stay there on the 7th?
We did.
Did you stay there on the 8th?
No, we left on the 8th early.
You left on the 8th? Okay, so you didn't stay either the 8th or the 9th.
No.
And then you, sometime thereafter, complained to whatever banking institution it was that was handling these transactions, and you were issued a refund,
Yes.
which they took out of your bank,
Yes, Your Honor.
which is why we're here today.
That's right.
Because you believe that you are entitled to, you say $842.60. That's what you're suing for. How much was taken out of your bank? Is that what was taken out of
That
your bank?
exact amount plus some small fees.
$842.60. Okay, now you're going to tell me why you don't owe him that money.
Well, they falsely advertised. So when we rented the cabin, they advertised it as zip lining.
May I see it, please?
Yes. So my family and I,
Shh, just a second. So sometimes in the wintertime there's skiing.
Yes,
is that
ma'am. The
right?
skiing's very good.
And you were going in what month?
August.
So you weren't going skiing.
no.
Well, this says cheap ski and zip lines, okay? I read your answer, and your answer says that when you got there were no zip lines.
They had closed their doors.
Well, they don't own the zip lines, right?
But they,
Just pay attention. They don't own the zip lines. There was no skiing either, right?
no, which we knew that.
You could have found out that there were no zip lines too. All you had to do was make a phone call.
Well, the zip line was there when we rented it. If it closed its doors, so we rented it in June, or paid it in June, July 14th, which I have a picture, they closed their doors. And if we had been, Wrightwood's a small town, if they had notified us, I think it's their responsibility as a cabin to notify
It
us.
certainly is not their responsibility to notify you. It's your responsibility. If you like hiking, if you like fishing, if you like zip lining, it's your responsibility. They rented you the cabin at the time that they rented you the cabin based on this. If I assume that this is advertising, this was perfectly accurate. At the time you rented it, it was perfectly accurate.
Yes. I also sent Barbara an email letting her know that my whole family was coming out, my daughter from New York, my other daughter from Northern California, specifically for zip lining, and that's why we were renting the cabin.
You know, the world is all about your responsibility. Your children were coming out. You get on the phone and say, by the way, not to them, to the zipline company, which was operational when you rented the cabin. If you have any doubt whatsoever that it's in operation, then you get on the phone and you say, is it in operation? But you can't just stop payment on leave. You rented the cabin. Somebody may just want to go there for hiking and not ziplining. I certainly wouldn't want to go any place for ziplining. I might want to go for the outdoors and walk around trails if it's pretty there. But I don't understand why it was paid for, why you left.
Because there was nothing to do. Wrightwood's a very small
children
town.
who came to visit you from thousands of miles away, and you have this lovely cabin, and you couldn't find something to do with your children for 2 other days, like go out and prepare great dinners and sit around and talk to each other. I assume you don't see each other regularly.
We don't. The older ones, no.
And you're telling me that there was nothing that you could do with your family that you don't see regularly if there was no zip lining in what looks to me like a beautiful environment?
Well, we weren't enjoying the environment, and my children didn't want to stay.
Yeah, well, then you have spoiled children. But it's not their responsibility to keep you abreast of the comings and goings of business. You rented the cabin, you rented it for 4 days, you have a responsibility to pay for it, and you have your responsibility, because there's no false advertising here. You paid for something, you saw this, you liked it, you knew there was no skiing. At the time that you rented it, there was in fact zip lining. It closed subsequently. I mean, I'm going to give you an example that is way out. What if it closed the day before you got there because there was a death? You think you would be entitled to your money back?
No, but
What if it closed 2 days before you got there because somebody who was ziplining got disconnected and broke their neck, and they closed it down until they figured out whether it was safe? You think you'd be entitled to your money back?
no.